Do you wish you could get away from that internalized voice of disapproval and shame? This is one of the hardest moments to face for LGBTQ people on their path to acceptance, especially those with a faith background. It's the enemy within, internalized queerphobia. Let's talk about it.
Would it be okay if I were to tell you that I am afraid someday? So I call you up and you call me down. Would it be okay?
Well, hello and welcome to the FreedHearts podcast, episode 23. Her name is Susan Cottrell and my name is
Robert Cottrell.
I'm just trying to
change it up a little bit.
A little bit. And we are so glad to be with you. First of all, I want you to know that you're not alone. If you can hear the sound of my voice, you're not alone. We are on this journey with you, and we will go on this journey with you, and we are here, and we encourage you to please listen, please share, and reach out to us if you need to at hello@freedhearts.org. And if you have any questions or comments about the podcast specifically, any topics you'd like us to talk about, email us at podcast@freedhearts.org. And that, an email from someone actually led to this episode. Someone said, I would love to hear you guys talk about, just a very minor topic. We're calling it the enemy within, which is internalized
queerphobia.
Internalized queerphobia.
Yep.
Yeah. One of the hardest moments, one of the hardest things that LGBTQ plus people, especially Christians, experience on their path to receiving acceptance from others, which oftentimes begins with acceptance of ourselves.
Yes.
And that homophobia, queerphobia gets in the way on that. In fact, we had...
Yeah. Well, Brene Brown, I read this, 5-6 years ago, one of her books. She said that the male characteristics, what is identified as male in our culture, what's thought of as male, includes things like dominance over women,
competitiveness,
overwhelming their enemies or whatever.
Yeah, that's typical. Yeah,
typical male attributes, culturally male, I mean. And the other one is actively against disdain for homosexuality. Not just they're straight, that's not enough. You have to disdain homosexuality in the cultural view of masculinity. And she's a researcher, so this was a research finding that she had. And that's just terrifying.
Right. And so what that means in this context is if you're a gay man, especially, but you have an internal disdain for yourself.
Yes.
As a gay man, and you don't even know that. It's just there.
Yeah, it's not conscious.
Right. And if you're female, you may experience that directly or indirectly from your father or the males in your life, or those kind of things. So that's tough. That internalized, and then if you grew up in the church, oh my gosh, it's just you receive such rejection and condemnation and shame from the church, which is, quote, justified because God agrees, or so they say, which is a lie.
Right.
So internalized queerphobia.
And
go ahead.
We say, and also your father, I thought you were going there too. If you're a father of a gay son, then you have internalized phobia against your son being gay. So all of these things just multiply.
Yeah, I hear that all the time, actually. Mm-hmm. I hear that from dads who go, I don't know why this is so difficult for me.
Yes.
I love my son, but I don't know why.
Yes.
Well, this is part of the reason why, is it's just, it's how this culture has conditioned us.
Yes.
Yeah. So admitting that there is that we have internalized that sexual stigma against the LGBTQ plus community, which again, they realize that that includes themselves.
Yeah.
If you're a gay man or part of that community. So internalized queerphobia, and we use that word because it's usually internalized homophobia, but this includes homophobia, transphobia, and related phobias, all the wonderful phobias out there. The internalized queerphobia comes from the fear, not wonderful, the fear of being ejected and rejected by the community. And that's a primal core human fear, is being looked at in the eyes or not in the eyes and saying, we don't want you here.
Yeah. I mean,
we
that's
don't want you here.
Probably the most primal fear.
Yeah.
Besides being dismantled by a tiger, as we referred to last episode, but just...
Are you dealing with those fears about the tiger?
No, but I'm saying rejection from community.
Yeah, last time we talked about the fear of a tiger.
Yeah, but the being rejected by your community is a very primal fear.
Yeah. And so what happens is that we instinctively reject and hide the thing about ourselves that would alienate us from our communities. And then you add the weight of family strength and then the weight of religion on top of that fear, that threat of alienation, and it just makes it even more difficult, even more damaging.
Yes.
So
it's like loading something inside of your brain and letting it do all the damage from within. You don't even have to do it anymore. You just let the internal machinations, machinations ruin you from within.
Yeah, and it's kind of a spiral because we talk about that one of the core reasons for issues like substance abuse and self-harm and suicide and
digestive
drug
problems
abuse and
is a huge thing. Eating disorders,
all those things within the gay community. A huge core reason for that is faith-based family rejection. So that's damaging enough. When that happens to you on top of this internalized queerphobia, it could be really damaging, and we don't want to leave you there. So that's what led to this episode.
Yeah. Well, I want to read something that someone sent me about her own internalized queerphobia, which translates really as self-hatred, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, think of that repugnance that homophobic or transphobic people feel towards gay or trans or whatever identified people. They don't want to be with them. They don't like them. They're not comfortable with them. And they'd really like them to change or go away. Well, internalized queerphobia is all of that feeling that way about yourself. You're sick of yourself and you wish you could change, but you can't. And this clash of what is going on inside you and what you think what you've been taught should be going on inside you make a very disintegrated life.
Wow.
Not integrated.
That's interesting because it's this huge conflict. What's inside of you, the truth about who you are is so empowering.
Yes.
And so that to live that way is life-giving, and it's your dream, and it's if only I could live true to who I am. But then that is in conflict with this subconscious phobia, this hatred of yourself.
Yes.
That you don't even know is there sometimes.
Yes.
What a difficult, oh my gosh.
Very difficult situation. Heartbreaking.
Yeah, heartbreaking. And if you're going, I'm sorry, I don't know what else to say, but we love you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we do this work because of you.
Yeah.
Because we love you. I think this term, I'm going to use this correctly. There's a word equanimity in yoga or in meditation, which means an equal weight and balance to what is going on outside of you with what's going on inside of you. And that word just popped to mind as far as your gender identity orientation, where what is expected outside of you and what is actually going on inside of you, where they find balance I think that there's something there about peace comes from that meeting of who you are with who you feel the weight from without to be. So, okay,
Yes, that's good. I will say too that, and this is very simplistic, but one thing I want you to remember, that all the wonderful things you feel and know about yourself is truth. And all the things that you're afraid or that you don't like about yourself, again, that internal, that queerphobia, that's a lie. It's just It's not true.
Yes. So as those things clash and your truth of who you are emerges to your conscious mind, embrace that. And what you're told that's disingenuous to that from without is a lie, and you can push that away. So let the truth from who you are bubble up, and let your hand go up in front of those things coming at you, telling you should be different. And I think that may help bring equanimity to yourself, more peace and balance, that your true self is able to find fuller expression as you're able to kind of say no thank you to the outside expectations for you, because those will not bring you peace. Outside expectations will never bring you peace. And we kind of think that they will if we somehow can meet them, which we can't, that we'll somehow find peace, but it's not true. Outside expectations won't bring you peace. Community and being in good community with people who are safe and you trust, who love you, is peaceful and helps bring peace. But meeting expectations from without, they won't do that.
And being accepted like that,
which is conditional.
Yes, without acceptance of yourself.
Yeah.
Doesn't work long term.
No, that's right.
So you've had some people write to you about this, yeah?
Oh gosh, yes. But I say, oh yes, because a lot of people write about this. But one in particular I wanted to share with you. It's from this wonderful woman who has really been struggling with her identity forever. She's not been able to come to peace with her identity in herself or her identity in the world around her. And this has been an ongoing battle for years for her. And I've said a lot of things to help her, but it's like she's having a very hard time receiving and internalizing what I'm saying to her, because her battle is raging within.
Yeah, we hear that a lot. We hear that from people, especially seems to be youth lately, but actually, and folks in their 70s. So everybody in between's okay. But,
right, exactly.
No. But we'll talk to people for a long time, and someone that we've known for years and work with for years, and sometimes they'll have a moment where they express the same fear they expressed the very first time we heard from them.
Yes.
Well, I know that, but I'm so afraid God this. Or I know that, but I can't help feeling bad when I'm attracted to this. Or, right. This kind of, again, that internalized stuff, it just pops up.
Yes.
And so how did you respond to her when she wrote you?
Well, I've written her quite a few times. But what I wanted to share from her was about the struggle that has been going on. She kind of wrote it out in a long form, but then she summed it up with these 8 points that I thought were really astute.
She summed it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's the part I want to read to you. Here's her struggle. Number 1, I have tried stop being attracted to women in general. 2, if offered the chance to be completely heterosexual, I would accept the chance.
Wow, that just hurts my heart.
It hurts. Number 3, I wish I weren't lesbian bisexual. 4, I feel that being lesbian bisexual is a personal shortcoming for me. 5, I have tried to become more sexually attracted to men. Number 6, I've often felt it best to avoid personal or social involvement with other lesbian bisexual women. You see where this is leaving her.
Oh, yeah.
Completely isolated.
Afraid. Hating herself and alone.
Yes. Number 7, I feel alienated from myself because of being lesbian bisexual. Number 8, I wish I could develop more erotic feelings about men. So all of these things center, I know if that broke your heart, then you heard it correctly. All of these things center around her inability to accept herself as she is, which was conditioned into her. This person was not born coming out of her mother's womb thinking, oh, I'm a failure. I am far short of the standard. It was taught into her, conditioned into her deeply. And the pain that comes from that, I want everybody...
Comes from what?
Yeah. Everybody to hear, I want you to hear this really clearly. The pain does not come from being queer. The pain comes from the internalized belief that she shouldn't be queer and the repugnance that she is.
Wow. You say that again?
The pain that she has expressed does not come from being queer. And your pain doesn't come from being queer. It comes from the internalized belief that she shouldn't be queer or that you shouldn't be queer and the repugnance because she is.
And as we've said before, all of this she was taught is, quote, God endorsed, which again, I quote because it's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But she was taught that it is God endorsed, which makes that struggle, makes those wounds even deeper, even more hurtful. And she should never have had to hide.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to hide here. We see you, we celebrate you, who you are, as you are. And that's what you deserve. That's what serves you well.
Yes. I love that. I love that definition of deserve, by the way. It serves you well. And the thing about it is that I bet she couldn't, in fact, I know this because we've talked about it, but she is not able to pinpoint where she learned this. She might remember a comment or this comment or that stray thing, but she doesn't really grasp the magnitude of the source of this internalized queerphobia. And when you can't identify the source and it keeps rolling around in your brain, you're left thinking it comes from you. And she, I pointed out a few things she had said about her family that I saw as the origin of some of her self-rejection. But it was hard for her to see. And she said, oh, really? Could that lead to that? I'm like, yes.
Especially when you add it on. When you add it on to the cultural traying and everything she's heard in church. And
death by 1,000 paper cuts. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So I've got a suggestion for you. A gift. Did you have more about that before I go into this?
No, I'm so sad about this. It's just so difficult because it's and we hear it in the desperation of people.
Yes.
Who have been out and living out free for a long time, but they struggle with this internalized stuff that they don't understand where it comes from, and it pops up when they thought they were done dealing with it, or those who are smack dab in the middle of family, faith, community rejection, that the internalized queerphobia will often, quote, confirm or give more weight to what others are saying about them than that deserves.
Yes.
It agrees with what others are saying about them. Yes. And what others are saying agrees with what they're afraid, internally is the truth. And this is huge. I mean, I feel like this is probably going to be 25 minutes or so long, and it's like, oh, we can't cover this in 25 minutes. So I want you to know in this that you're not alone here. Like I said at the start, if you can hear my voice, you're not alone. And we will go on this journey with you, and we will help you surround yourself with people who will affirm you and accept you for who you are and help you find a place where you belong as you work. And this is not an overnight process because it didn't take overnight to get there. But to help identify, like you said, to help identify when, oh, that doesn't serve me well. I can reject that. Even just to identify, oh, that's internalized queerphobia. That's where that's coming from, because I'm giving weight to things that have no business having weight. To identify that is a huge, powerful first step in that. So I just want to know that we see you and that we love you dearly.
Yes. Well,
you had a suggestion?
I do. I have a suggestion for you. And let me just say, this is not a substitute for therapy. And this woman that I just read you, her list, I've really recommended several times that she see a therapist, but she's too afraid to do it. So I just want to tell you that this is not a substitute for therapy, what I'm about to suggest. It's just an adjunct to help you along the way. But
you want to talk about the importance of therapy?
I think therapy. So we have a young gal that has been through hell growing up. Awful things. And we did a lot of work together. And so, which was powerful for her, but she was saying, oh, good, I'm past this now. I'm done. And I said, no, you really need real therapy. Like, not real, you need professional therapy. And she heard that as something's wrong with her, that I'm saying she's broken. And I was saying, no, something's right with you. And therapy will help you discover what that is.
She was so cute because she would say, okay, I will. She had no intention of it. Now we find out after the fact. But then what happened? She went, and it took all her trust in me. She has considerable trust in me, in us. And it took all of that for her to go. And I said, if you feel yucky in it, you can leave. But she didn't. She really, and now has written us, I don't know how many messages saying, thank you for recommending therapy, because it's changed my life. And so all of that is to say, please get the therapy you need, because you deserve it. It's not because something's wrong with you. It's because something's right with you, and you get to go and recover what that is. You're a square peg that's been forced in a round hole, as we have. And you deserve to find your fit again as you are in the world, and not forced into something else. All right. That's my plug about therapy, which I have no, vested interest in. Therapy is not a sponsor of this show.
No, it should be, but it's not. All right. So here's my gift for you, suggestion to help you shift things. Okay. Imagine someone that you love dearly. Maybe it's a child. If you have a child that you love dearly, a niece or a nephew, or, somebody someone totally safe for you, and someone that you love, or an adult, but someone's completely safe and that you love. Imagine sitting with them and they pour out their heart to you, and all of that angst, those 8 items that I just read about animosity toward themselves, wishing they were different than they were, they're pouring that out to you. And they're saying that's how they feel about themselves. And you're listening, and your heart is breaking, and you're saying, oh no, sweetheart, no, you don't need to feel that way. That's not true about you. And you don't want them to feel that way, because you know they don't deserve it. What would you tell them? How would you deconstruct that for them? Would you grab them and hug them? Would you stroke their shoulders? Would you write them a letter with all those things? Or record yourself speaking all those things? I want you to do that, and then go to the mirror and read that letter, or listen to that recording and let it in, because you deserve all of that love and compassion that you would have for that person you love. You deserve that too. And your younger you inside that's been shoved into the corner or into the closet or crushed with terrible words thrown at you or physical pain. You deserve freedom from all of that. And go and give yourself that. And I would like you to let me know how that goes for you. I'd really like to hear what happens for you. So to that end, I want to start you off. Okay, you ready? You are magnificent. You are beautifully, wonderfully designed exactly as you are. You are a lovely human being. You deserve all the space that you take up in the world. Stretch out your arms and legs if you're able. Pull yourself to your fullest physical size. All that space and more you deserve to take up in this world. You belong in this world. You're here for a purpose, even if you don't know what that is yet, and probably you don't. It takes a while. You deserve to know that you have a place here and that people around you love you and will love you as they get to know you. And you can open yourself up to those people coming into your life and pouring out their love for you, just as you pour yourself out in love for others. You deserve all of that. And you deserve to love who you are. You deserve to look in the mirror and smile at yourself and say, I love you. I do that all the time. So you just get permission from me to say, I love you and you're magnificent. And smile at yourself. Kiss yourself in the mirror because you deserve it. We love you. We are so grateful to be in community with you. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
Would it be okay if I were to tell you that I am afraid someday? So I call you up and you call me down. Would it be okay?
You've been listening to the FreedHearts podcast. We have extensive resources and vibrant community for you at www.freedhearts.org. Just come say hello. And if you have questions or issues or comments about the podcast, things you'd like us to talk about, reach out to us at podcast@freedhearts.org. The music is provided by Hannah Cottrell, our daughter, the Grammy-nominated Saint Sinner, and you can find out more about her at heysaintsinner.com. Please share this, subscribe, and follow on your favorite platform, and thanks for listening.